Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's go ahead and talk about some motivation, some meditation, some inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Let's go ahead and get this exercise going. Looking at Plato's quote here, looking through quotes, seeing that we can use tools. Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice. We do not act right because we are not excellent. In fact, we achieve excellence by acting right. So in other words, when we start utilizing our ability to think, when we start utilizing the challenges that we face off against, we start to get the skills, we start to use the skills that we have, the abilities that we have within ourselves to overcome the challenges that we face off against. So we strive for excellence. We utilize the ability because we are not excellent. In fact, we achieve excellence through focusing, Plato. So as we focus to that point, as we start to recognize that when we start to put ourselves in a place where we start to write stuff down, we start to put ourselves in a place where we start to ask ourselves those types of questions, like those people of the past have done. So let's go ahead and start looking how we can do so, how we can start putting ourselves in that place, how we can start giving ourselves the ability to overcome our challenges, how we can start getting down with the person who we truly are inside so we can start to achieve excellence. What kind of challenges are you facing off against? Can you put yourself in a place where you can start to focus? Can you give yourself a place where you can start to strive to achieve excellence? Another Plato quote, every heart sings a song incomplete until another heart whispers back, those who wish to sing always find a song. Are you finding the song inside of yourself? Are you giving yourself the ability to start to see that there is a reason for you to wake up? A reason for you to start your day, a reason for you to get into your challenges to face off against them. Are you giving yourself that place on a daily basis? Are you giving yourself the time to be there? Are you giving yourself the ability to recognize that you can do this, that you can utilize this, that the challenges that we face off against, we can overcome? Are we putting ourselves in a place where we're utilizing these tools, where we're giving ourselves the ability to recognize that the things that we face off against are worth it, that the challenges that you face off against you can overcome, the things that you go through you can achieve? Are you giving yourself that ability to start to see the tools that you have around you, like the Plato's, Aristotle's of the world? Are you giving yourself the ability to recognize those people that are achieving those things that you can too? As the late Steve Jobs said, when you recognize that the world's made up of people that are no smarter than you, when you start to recognize that the things that you go through, the challenges that you go through, that you can overcome them, that you can achieve them, that you can ask yourself the question, am I focused? Am I achieving my dreams? Am I putting myself in a place where I'm manifesting? Am I giving myself that ability? Am I getting down with the challenges that I face off against so I can achieve excellence? So I can recognize that I have what it takes, that I can actually get down with the challenges that I face off against. Another Plato quote, courage is knowing what not to fear. So when you start to focus to the point where you start to see the things in front of you, you start to see the challenges that we face off against, you start to see that you can do it, that you can achieve it. Let's go ahead and look at some more Plato quotes. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. So start to recognize the applied focus. Start to put yourself in a place where you're utilizing your challenges. Recognize that you can actually speak your mind. You can actually put yourself out there. You can face off against the challenges. You can pick yourself up. You can give yourself the ability to get down with the challenges that you face off against. Let's look at some more inspirational quotes here. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Pulling up inspirational quotes as we're going through it. Let's go ahead and motivational, inspirational quotes about life and success. All right, let's go ahead and see what they got to say here. Let's go ahead and start getting into it. It's so exciting to recognize that when we do use the tools that we have, guys, that you can actually start to achieve things. You can start to manifest things in your day. You can manifest it around you. The energy inside of you can start flowing. The reflection can start flowing. Bingo. There we go. The way to get started is to quit talking and being and doing. Walt Disney. These guys are saying these types of quotes because this is what they have in their mind. They're focused to the point where they're going to be doers. They're focused to the point where when they say they're going to write something down, they write it down. Winston Churchill. See difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. So when you start to give yourself the ability to write stuff down, you can see how you can overcome your challenges, how you can get with you, how you can start to get to the place where you can overcome these kinds of challenges, how you can start to focus to the point where you can do it. And when you believe in yourself, when you truly believe in yourself, when you truly start to use the gifts that God's given you, that the universe has for you, that the way in which this universe starts to work through you, that you start to look at positivity, you start to put yourself in a place where you start to utilize what you have inside, that you start to get down with the challenges that you face off against, that you can do it. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. Augmendino. Bam. Look at that. Throughout time, people have been talking about that. They've recognized that putting yourself in a place of focus, giving yourself the ability to give yourself the kind of challenges that you face off against. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Maya Angelou. So as we recognize here, we are going to fail, guys. We are going to go through challenges. We are going to have things come up against us. And we are definitely going to overcome them. It's within yourself that you find that. It's when you see challenges in front of you and you start to work with them. You start to give yourself the ability to start to write stuff down. You start to, see these things in front of you. You start to see these failures as successes. You start to give yourself the ability to continue to succeed. The man who has confidence in himself gains the confidence of others. When you start to become that, when you start to put yourself in that place, when you start to go through those kinds of challenges, you start to utilize what you do have. You start to put yourself in a place where you have the ability to utilize these things. Guys, these people throughout time have said this. Albert Einstein, creativity is intellect, having fun. So you can have fun utilizing this. You can use the stuff that you have inside of yourself. 110%. Here we go. Here we go, 110%. What you lack in talent can be made up with desire, hustle, and giving 110% all the time. What I believe is that we put 100% is 10% God, is 10% the universe, is 10% the utilization in the universe. When you give 100% you, when you put something into it, you put your whole self into it, you start to write it down, you start to put it in front of you, you start to see this type of stuff, you start to see this type of stuff working in your favor. This is Don Zimmer. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more quotes. Roosevelt. All right, here's presidential. Presidential, you ready? Do what you can with all you have, wherever you are. Theodore Roosevelt. These presidents, these people, they know this. They know how to use this. They understand that the foundation is focus. They understand that when we utilize this, we put ourselves in a place where we start to focus to that level. We start to give ourselves that ability to put these things in front of ourselves that we can manifest it. Confucius, to see what is right and not do it is a lack of courage. So if you know that if you write stuff down, that the things in front of you start working for you. If you know that when you put stuff in front of you, you can achieve it. If you know that you can give yourself the ability to utilize it and you're not utilizing it, ultimately it's your own fault for not picking yourself up. And here we go again. Brian Tracy. Reading is to the mind as exercise is to the body. So you have to use the tools that you do every day. You have to put yourself in a place. You have to recognize that you can do it, that you can utilize it. For every reason it is not possible, there are hundreds of people who have faced the same circumstances and succeeded. Recognize you can face off against your challenges. You can put them in front of you, and you can overcome them. Brian Tracy. Let's go ahead and look at some more here. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going. Come on, this is getting exciting. Come on, guys. Michael Phelps. All right, let's go ahead and see what Michael Phelps' thought process is like. I think a goal should never be easy. They should force you to work even if they are uncomfortable at the time. When we give ourselves that, put yourself in that place. Recognize you can do it. You can achieve it. You can become it. It's not going to be easy. It's definitely not going to be easy. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it to put yourself there. Michael Phelps. All right. Let's keep going here. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more here. Recognize, guys, when you write stuff down, it's not going to be easy. When you put the stuff in front of yourself, it's not going to be easy. When you're facing off against your challenges, it's not going to be easy. Is it going to be worth it? Answer the question that Michael Phelps asked. Answer the question to yourself. When you recognize that you can do it, that you can achieve it, that you can become it, that the people throughout time have recognized this, that it's applying it, it's putting it in front of you and starting to learn how to achieve it, how to become it. Let's go ahead and look at here some more quotes. This is super exciting, guys. This is absolutely exciting. Look, when you allow yourself to recognize that you can do it, when you truly allow yourself and you believe in you, when you truly start to believe in you, when you really start to recognize that you can, you have what it takes, when you absolutely know that you have what it takes, then the quotes throughout time start coming to you. They start being there for you. You start to understand that you have a blessing inside of your life, and that's you. That when you sit down in front of stuff in front of you, you start writing it down. And I mean, you start writing it down. You start putting in front of yourself, and you put the challenges that you have in front of you. And you put the challenges that you have in front of you, then you can succeed. When you put those challenges in front of you so that you can face off against them. When you give yourself the ability to apply that. When you allow these things that we're talking about throughout time, that these people have actually found a way. When they didn't find a way, they made a way. And so that way is you. That way is within you. Those challenges that you face off against, you can overcome. And the way that you can overcome it is by using the tools that you have. By actually literally using the tools that you have inside of you. Albert Einstein. Creativity is intellect, having fun. So when you get creative, when you put it down in front of yourself, you start to look at it, then you have the ability to overcome it. Then you have the ability to work through it. Then you have the ability to be who you truly are. To face off against the challenges that you face off against. To give yourself the place where you have what it takes. Albert Einstein, finding fun in creativity. Putting ourselves in these types of challenges because they're worth it. Putting ourselves in these types of places because we can achieve it. Putting ourselves in these types of places because we can do it. We are worth it. You are worth it. We are worth it to give ourselves the ability to use the gifts that God has given to us. When we recognize things like what Abraham Lincoln said, destroy my enemies when I make them my friends. You can find joy in quotes. You can find joy in time. You can find joy inside of yourself. So when we start to do that from around, we start to give that to ourselves. We start to put ourselves in a place of liberation. We start to study those people throughout time. We start to recognize, like the Buddha, for instance, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. When we become that, we choose those thought process. We choose positivity, guys. We start putting ourselves in a place where we allow ourselves to be that. We allow ourselves to achieve that. We allow ourselves to have that kind of focus. We allow ourselves to be that type of person We allow ourselves to go through those types of challenges. Billie Jean King. Champions keep playing until they get it right. Are you playing it until you get it right? Are you going at it? Are you putting those things in front of yourself? Are you writing down your dreams? Are you writing down your goals? Are you getting to the place where geniuses lay? Like Thomas Edison, for instance. Geniuses, 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. So you're working so hard that you're achieving it, that you're not surprised when the result comes back and it is your success. We're not surprised that when you write stuff down, that you see it in front of you, that you see the challenges that you face off against. When you start to recognize these types of things, you start to see that you're worth it. You start to face off against it. You start to become it. You start to recognize that throughout time, people started to understand this. Bingo. You are a blessing right where you are. The challenges that you face off against. Seth Godin. Instead of wondering when your next vacation is, maybe you should set up a life that you don't need to escape from. A lot of times we feel like we need to escape from the one thing that matters the most, ourselves. We need to get out of there from who we are instead of go inwards. We start to go inwards, we start to find the blessings. We go inwards, we start to find the answers. We go inwards, we start to find the solutions. So when we start utilizing goals, like the ability to write stuff down, we start to utilize the ability to put these things in front of ourselves, the challenges that we face off against, the things that we go through on a daily basis, the things that we're looking to do. We start to achieve them. We start to put ourselves in a place where we can become them. We start to recognize that we have what it takes. That truly in front of ourselves is what it's worth. You are worth it. You are a blessing. You know, when you use your gifts, your goals, your the inside, the person that you truly are on the inside. Like for instance, this quote here. Oh my goodness. Your limitation is only your imagination. So if you can't put it in front of yourself, if you can't give yourself what it has, if you don't give yourself the ability, how can you make it happen? How can you reach those limitations until you allow yourself to achieve it? Look at the cell phone, for instance. In Star Trek, it was there. At the time, they didn't focus to that point. They didn't put a foundation in it, or they would have already had the cell phone. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at some more quotes here. Let's go ahead and keep going. This is such a joy to actually pull up these quotes and to start looking. And you can do this at any time. You can put yourself in a place where you start to read. And reading is a beautiful gift. Reading is an ability to use a tool. Reading is the ability to uplift yourself. Success is not a strength. Success is not a straight line. When you achieve it, it does not mean that you're not going to fail. It means that you are going to fail forward until you achieve it. When you have weaknesses, it is when you use your strengths that you focus to overcome your weaknesses. Gary Vee. So throughout time, these people have been truly doing this. They've been putting themselves in the place. They've been putting their effort forward. They've been putting their focus in the place. And it's to find the joy in that inside of yourself. It's to find the ability inside of yourself to recognize that. It's to find the person that you are inside. And so here's one that's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful quote. Carlos Cross. A writer is someone who can make a riddle out of an answer. Can you do that with your life? Can you give yourself that ability? Can you put yourself in a place where you can answer your own questions, where you can put it down in front of you, could see the positivity? And so all progress takes place outside the comfort zone. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We give ourselves the ability to focus past it. We give ourselves the ability to achieve it. We give ourselves the ability to overcome it. And you should always be your number one fan, your biggest fan. You should always be on your side. You should always recognize that you are your greatest competition. And so when we allow ourselves that, we allow ourselves that kind of place. We start putting ourselves in that kind of place. We start putting ourselves in a place where we utilize our level of focus. We start to get down with ourselves. We start to get down with our challenges. We start to get down with the person that we truly are. We start to face off against these types of things. We start to utilize this level of focus. We start to utilize this ability. And so when we give ourselves the ability to use our challenges as strengths, we allow ourselves to give ourselves the ability to use our imagination. We allow ourselves to see that things can be possible. But it's ultimately up to you. And bam, here we go. Success is how high you can bounce when you hit the bottom. So when you hit the bottom, are you like a bouncy ball who bounces back? Are you able to see those things as the ability to overcome them? Are you able to see those things as McGregor talks about getting back up? You know, adversity, that's what he talks about. Adversity. If you can't face off against adversity, you can't overcome it. So let's go ahead and see how we can start doing that through writing stuff down. If you put this stuff in front of you, if you give yourself the ability, if you start to face off against your challenges, then you can see them in front of you. So this allows your imagination to start working, the ability for this to no longer have a limitation over you. For you to face off against it, to overcome it starts to be available. The ability to face off against that challenge is to recognize that you are your foundation, that you have inside your ability to overcome those kinds of challenges, that you can do it, you can achieve it. And here's a key. Surround yourself with people who make you hungry for life, touch your heart, and nourish your soul. Positive people, guys. Only allow positive people around you. Only allow people that allow you to be you, that know you for the challenges that you go through. Recognize that it's not about them that you're going to succeed. Recognize that you're going to succeed for you, that you're going to face off against your challenges for you, that you can overcome your challenges within you, that you can be you. And so when you give yourself that ability, when you start putting yourself in that place where you start to focus, you start to read quotes, you start to listen to positivity, you start putting yourself in a place where you start to have good habits, you start to have good things. Augmendino. Become a slave to good habits. Create your own habits. Start putting them in a place where you achieve them, where you become them, where you overcome them, where you have what it takes to be who you are on the inside. And so that will become a reflection on the outside. That will become a reflection that will manifest itself. And so here's a great quote. You're going to be happy, said life. But first, I'll make you strong. You want happiness in life? Be strong. Be focused, my friends. Allow yourself a place of focus. Allow yourself the ability to use your tools. Allow yourself to read. Allow yourself to write. Allow yourself to speak it out. Allow yourself to sit down and go within yourself. Allow yourself to focus to the point where you can be you, where you can use you, where you can see the quotes throughout time are there for you. The challenges throughout time are there for you. The person that you are inside is there for you. The person that's going through the challenges, there for you. Let's go ahead and read some more Albert Einstein quotes here. Let's go ahead and see what this one has to say here. All right. Kind of a little excited. I'm just reading these and just to go. Let's just go at it. Let's just see what Einstein's brain actually has to offer. Let's go ahead and type in Einstein quotes. Einstein was amazing. Einstein stated that mass and energy are interchangeable sources. Einstein talked about mass and energy and the importance in understanding both. Albert Einstein to release your inner genius. What did it mean to be such an intelligent person? Few are those who see their own eyes and feel their own heart. Einstein. Imagine is more important than knowledge. Is limited imagination encircles the world. You are the one that's putting the limitations on yourself. You're the one who's stopping you from gaining that. This is Albert Einstein talking. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Respecting the understanding from within oneself. Try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. When you put those things in front of you, the results are that. When you start to write stuff down, you start to listen, you start to put yourself in that type of a place. And here he goes about the mind. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. So he recognizes that to succeed, you're going to have failure. It doesn't mean that the mind goes that way. It means that you use those to your success. It means when you're putting yourself in front of stuff, you're starting to write it down. You're starting to face off against your challenges. You're starting to overcome your challenges. Einstein connected religion with science. All religion, art, and science are branches of the same tree. Albert Einstein's quote, connecting the universal universe. This tells me Einstein was understanding of focus. He was understanding of utilizing the tool of focus in a way which he used it on a daily. This was a great man. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mystery. So when we understand it is there for us, these challenges that we face off against, we can overcome, we can achieve, we can get to that place inside of ourselves. We start to achieve these things, we start to go through these things, we start to face off against these things. And even he goes to say, I love to travel, but I hate the arrive. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. So if you give your ability to use your tools, you recognize that your tools exist. If you give yourself the ability to utilize your tools, you recognize that you use your gifts. If you start to utilize the connection with the universe, you start to utilize your gifts. Let's go ahead and pull up somebody else, start looking at this level of focus. Can you guys see the extraction? Can you see the extraction, the ability to use these gifts, to use the gifts that you have inside, to recognize that what you have is worth it, the ability to overcome it, the ability to achieve it is within you? Let's go ahead and look at Tony Roth. Let's go ahead and look up somebody else. Give me somebody else's name. Let's go ahead and look throughout time. Let's go ahead and see what we got here. How about ourselves? Let's go inside of ourselves. So now we recognize these people are using universal gifts. These people are utilizing universal abilities. They're utilizing universal energy. They're utilizing universal challenge. They're using their ability to use their gifts. They're using their ability to use what they have, because it was never about what they didn't have. It was always about what they did have and what they did with what they got. And you can do the same. You can use it on a daily. You can use it within yourself. You can use it to overcome your challenges. You can become who you truly are on the inside. You can radiate with a light outwards. You can. And it's within you. And so when we recognize this, we start to get down with ourselves. We start to face the things that we can do, we can achieve. It's going to be you. It's going to be you that's going to lift you up. It's going to be you that's going to find that these challenges are worth it. It's going to be you that's going to write stuff down and put it in front of yourself and start to recognize that you have what it takes. It's going to be you that sees you. It's going to be you that can face off against these things for yourself. And it's going to be you that's going to help you out. Oh, it's going to be me that's going to help me out. And so when I start to see this, when we start to see this, we actually start to see that going inwards has a purpose, that, the ability to get inside of ourselves and to extract that universe, that process starts to work through you. That process starts to work with you. That process starts to become you. And so are you giving yourself that ability to that process? And, I answered that question. I asked myself that question, and I said, yes, I am. And I started to recognize this. I started to see that there is a gift. It is the ability to use the gifts that we have. It is the ability for us to be a tool in the universe, that we can go beyond limitations when we believe in ourselves. When our imagination reaches that level where the reflection radiates outwards, it's then when other people see you as motivation. They start to see you as a blessing. They start to understand the blessings that you have. They start to see and then they start recognizing those blessings inside of you. They start to recognize that, those challenges. And so are you doing that? Are you giving yourself that? Are you going through that? And, when we start to put ourselves in that place, we start to sit down with our gifts. We start to give ourselves that, if Einstein could do it, I could too. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that, if somebody else could achieve it, you can as well too. Success is just a mindset. So if success is just a mindset, can we achieve it? So let's get down with it. Let's start to get inside of ourselves. Let's start getting that connection going. When you put it in front of yourself, you start to give yourself that. When it starts to go inwards, when it truly starts to go inwards, it starts to become a part of you. That day around you starts to become a part of your path. It starts to become part of your journey. If these masters throughout time have achieved these things, and the universe have used them as a blessing, it can use you too. And so looking at that, looking from that angle, recognizing that, these quotes throughout time are special, to put them in front of yourself, to write stuff down, to truly have it in front of you as a blessing. And to get inside of yourself, to truly start getting that extraction going, to start getting that knowledge out, to, to start getting that expansion into a place where the universe has the ability to use it, has the ability to use your gifts, has the ability to use your challenges, has the ability to use who you are inside. And so are we doing that? And so I started asking myself this question. I started asking myself, can I do this? When I was sleeping in my van, can I focus? Can I start to recognize the reason why people give up things? Recognize the reason why these challenges came against me. Recognize the reason why I can do this. And I started to ask myself that question. I asked myself that question. I was like, can I do this? Can I achieve it? And so what was the answer? Yes, you can. You can definitely do this. You got what it takes. You can do this. You can get inside of yourself. You can face off against your challenges. You can find that best friend inside of yourself communicating back to you. You can find that best friend inside of yourself manifesting within you. You can find that you can achieve those things if you put yourself in a place where you are the one that's overcoming your challenges. You can put yourself in a place where you start to overcome those things that you're facing off against. And so when I started to see this, the universe started to use it. Oh wait, the universe started to answer back. The universe started to say those blessings are there for you. Those blessings are happening around you. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean by this. When you put that groundwork in front of yourself and you start to achieve it, the manifestation starts to come out. The blessings from within start to radiate outwards. The energy from within starts to be utilized. And so then the knowledge starts to become available. And so as the knowledge starts to become available, the ability to use what we have inside starts to become available. That means the manifestation starts to become available. Oh wait, imagination, the utilization, blessings.
Hello, hello.
Blessings.
How,
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm willing to um mindfulness meditation, and I really appreciate what you're saying. It's really nice to have someone saying positive things.
Well, that's what it is. It's when we use our tools, when we use what we have inside, it manifests itself on the outside. So I
Yeah,
decided to start helping people. Right now, I'm helping 4 women. They all have different challenges, and I'm working with all these people.
hmm,
But the point is that I've been doing meditation for almost a decade, about 8 years.
yeah,
And so I can definitely tell that you utilize a lot of your thought process and that the external becomes a reflection of that. Everywhere you go, you see yellow. And in fact, yellow is in your photo too.
yeah,
So this means that you use your thought process.
definitely. Meditation for me is really important as eating, you know. So,
Well,
as you're saying,
diet's an important piece too. I drink about 7 shakes a day. It's not about how much you eat, it's exactly how your mentality is.
yeah, I just want to say hi to the guests that are my friends. Lindsay, hi. Denise, hi. This broadcast talks about meditation, and it's really helpful for us and for all the world. And I think you guys will enjoy it.
Well, it's important for them to see it inside of themselves. See, as we progress through our thought process, as the expansion comes from within, as you start to recognize that it's about self-knowledge, as you start to recognize it's about you facing off against your challenges, as you see what's going on inside, recognize that that's a manifestation on the outside.
Yeah, like when I meditate, well, Lindsay made a really tricky question. How do you meditate with kids that do a lot of sounds? Well, I think meditation is about, in my opinion, when I made the course, it's about focusing, and you may be open eyes. You don't need to be closed eyes and be like you may be open eyes, and you just focus on what you're dealing and what you want to the future, and you just mentalize it positively. That
Gabby, it's okay for one day for that, for somebody to sit down, but somebody who wants a complete practice has to understand that it's the most important piece is that this is the classroom. Your internal breath is the student, and you're sitting inside a classroom with you, which means that you have to shut the door. You have to say to yourself, I'm going to give myself this period of time. And so when you allow yourself time, this is time for you to have self study. But it doesn't start in meditation, it actually starts before you meditate. It starts with a focused mentality, with an able ability to go inwards. That's how meditation works. The chatter that comes your way is the thing that you're supposed to face off against before you get there. So when you get there, you have the ability to work with meditation to overcome your challenges inside of yourself. So meditation is a level of altitude and latitude. So altitude meaning the highest level is focus and knowledge. And so as you elevate yourself, you have fight, flight, slavery, emotion, time, organization, and ultimately focus and knowledge. So you have your altitude and you have your latitude. So each individual energy field breaks down into each area. And so how focused one is how well they're able to extract the knowledge which is sufficient inside of oneself to achieve the lesson of learning from yourself. Because this is the classroom.
yeah,
And so there's mastery of the internal breath, which is the focus. There's the center, which is you, which is the classroom. And there's the outgoing breath, which is the teacher. Now, in the process of the outgoing breath, the knowledge becomes available. So as knowledge becomes available, the light inside starts to increase because the extraction of energy inside, which Einstein states mass and energy are interchangeable.
Yeah. Um, I get your point, and you're totally right. You have way more experience than I do in meditation. So, yeah, I just know about mindfulness, and basically, it's really helpful when you. I mean, I told Lindsay to focus on that way when she's with her kids, but obviously it's important to have a time for yourself to concentrate about what you have, what is your goals, and what you can do and you actually can do,
Gabby,
and actually empower yourself
Gabby,
on that.
it's that the thing is the time that we have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
We rest a certain period of time, and we need 10% of the day needs to go to you. If you don't pay yourself, and it doesn't mean after, it means first.
Sure.
So the first place meditation starts is the minute you wake up. So
Mm,
first, understanding to master the time before you start your day gives you the ability to master your day. So it's all in the mind.
yeah.
And so when we recognize that if we wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we must get up and meditate. So that the rest of the day, even if we end at 2 o'clock in the morning, it still has given you time. However, what's happening is people are not giving themselves that kind of time to pay themselves. So then at that point, they have nothing for themselves. They've done everything for everything that's not them.
Yeah, you're 110% right. Um, for us to focus and have goals and have something that we really want and actually do it, we need to put ourselves first. And meditation is the very big step on that.
Well, that's the self study step. See, meditation is studying oneself. That's what meditation is. I'm the fish. And you know that we actually have exited the age of Aquarius? We're actually in the age of Pisces at this point, which is focus and knowledge. If you look around you, all the things that are happening, the way the world is operating at this point is no longer on a physical aspect, it's on a mental aspect. So those people that are able to adapt with that will overcome this stuff when they recognize that we're no longer in the age of Aquarius.
Well, I'm Sagittarius, so I don't know much about it.
Well, okay. Let me go ahead and talk about this. So, the person who brought Kundalini Yoga to the US, his name was Yogi Bhajan. And so Yogi Bhajan was an instructor of my mom.
Mm,
So he brought this word called the Age of Aquarius to the US. And then when this whole entire thing happened, the shift that happened came to the place to those to focus. So we're in a place of focus and knowledge. Before we were in a place of Aquarius. And we're no longer in the age of Aquarius. And a lot of people that are holding on to the age of Aquarius aren't overcoming their challenges because they're not used to the new age of thought process. And so when you're looking around you and you're seeing stuff, recognize that we're no longer in that old age. So that's the part where studying oneself starts to become. It's no longer about like, okay, I can go work for this person, go do this type of thing, and then all of a sudden I'm good. It's coming from here, it's coming from the mentality. Those that are overcoming these things are putting themselves in the age of the fish, which is focus is one, and the other fish is knowledge. So when you utilize your knowledge, you'll see it as a gift. And so it's been quite interesting to see the shift here between this, because as we start to see it, we start to see the blessings coming our way when we see them as blessings. Yeah, where I feel the strength is that, so you have a good thought process, right?
Yeah.
However, are you writing stuff down?
No.
Okay. This is why your depth perception system is not as effective as it could be. So, even though your yellow energy field is working, you're not utilizing the tools that you have.
I see.
So that's the reason why the other parts, like the heart, are affected, and the ability to voice yourself is affected as well.
I see. Yeah.
See, that's the understanding of energy inside of a body. This is called an energy reading. People come to me to sit down and do an energy reading with me. Normally, an energy reading is 25, and a session of meditation is 50. So be blessed that I'm actually reading the energy for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm really thankful.
You're a blessing, dear. You have a great heart, but from a thought process. You understand?
Yeah, I mean, I need to work things to get better. We all need to get better, much more, and I need to get better in this area.
So what I do every single day, I talk about focus for 30 minutes, which is the foundation in overcoming that, which helps you to get into the place of meditation, which is the process of focus helps you to overcome fear, emotion, and stuff like that, because the highest level of elevation is focus and knowledge. And so all those emotions and stuff are just lessons waiting to be learned. The knowledge is waiting to be extracted inside.
So when you have a fear, basically it's a lesson that you need to learn.
What it is, it's a little bit bigger than that. Let me go ahead and explain to you where science comes in here. We use the universe. The universe also uses us. We are a tool in the universe. We have focus and we have knowledge. All knowledge comes from the first seed of knowledge of each individual knowledge, which comes through the process of focus. So when it gets absorbed, then you gain the knowledge of it, right? If you hit a curb with your foot, you're not going to hit the curb again with your foot, right?
Yeah.
So the first time you hit the foot, their forward means that every time you hit your foot, you're going to relate back to the first time you hit your foot, right?
Exactly.
So that means that's the seed of knowledge. So from the seed of knowledge comes the ability to focus. Now, as we gain knowledge and focus inside, you start working with a progression of meditation. It starts in the place of Kundalini and works its way into the place of Qigong.
Yeah.
So when we understand that connecting these two are important, the effectiveness that they connect through is how well you can focus to move those things out of the way that aren't meant for you, which means that you become a tool in the universe. And the universe ends up using the tools and the gifts that you have when you start to focus with a foundation of focus to become that tool in the universe.
I see.
So this means it's not by a singular aspect, but by a scientific aspect. We are a tool in the universe. Now, that would mean that the universe, through science, has identified Newton's third law of motion, right? What is that?
I'm just a learner here. I'm just a learner.
For each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this means there's no such thing in a universal aspect as good or bad. It's actually negative or positive.
Mm.
So the person,
And the negative, it comes on
because
our perspective. The negative comes. I'm just trying to understand. The negative comes so we can learn the lesson and we can upgrade so the universe uses us better
you got it.
as a tool.
And so when you see those negatives are actually bringing positives, those negatives become blessings.
Mm, I see. It's because I have a lot. I use meditation for my disorders. I have disorder of attention. I have disorder of anxiety. I have disorder of um, panic attacks. So I'm trying to use meditation. That's why I'm a learner on this
We
area.
all are. Let me tell you a little secret. We all are learners. You know where we're a learner of? When you go in with your breath into you, you're a student. So how well you can focus before you go inward and how well you can be inside of the classroom of you, centered with you, is how well you can extract the sufficient knowledge inside of yourself. So when you face off against it and you don't run from it, then you can overcome it. Meditation is self study. The energy fields inside of the body are meant to be broken down so you can learn the lesson from within.
Yeah,
So those
I'm understanding. Just a second, I'm gonna pass, and my mom is talking, but I'm gonna go to a room so I can hear you better and without any noise.
sure.
Okay, no noise. Um, let's learn it.
So
Anyway,
the first
I
place is outside of you.
yeah.
You have to so I'm showing you the process how to get into yourself so the chatter no longer affects you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, fear and emotion are knowledge.
So actually, if I am sad, I am learning from that.
You are learning from it, however, you're not applying it. Sadness is a broken focus.
Mm.
See, if you create a foundation where the thought process comes, where you understand all of your thoughts, then you have the ability to turn them positive. It's learning
Yeah,
how to do that that's important.
yeah,
Last
I
night,
see.
I was working with somebody and they're going through a hard situation, but we were looking at all the positives of them being honest with themselves. See, when you're
Yeah,
honest with yourself and you're writing everything down in front of you, and then you go back and re review it, then you can overcome it. So, and the person who's willing to face off against themselves in all of those, as David Goggins says, chambers within themselves, and to overcome those challenges within themselves, to see that the fear can move out of the way and the emotion can move out of the way, they end up moving out of the way. You bend the universe around you. Are you with me?
yeah, I'm with you. Actually, I choose whether to. I'm trying to see the concept in my mind. That's why I'm repeating. Uh, so actually, when I'm with, for example, the first example, fear, I am choosing to see if I'm gonna learn with the fear or if I'm gonna put in a negative way.
Yes.
And
Well, the second part was correct. You are choosing to allow yourself not to be focused and you're focusing on negativity when you're allowing the fear to take over.
mm-hmm,
So, in other words, you are in control of your thoughts. Fear is just an emotion, which is a place that's breaking your level of focus from you achieving your dreams, your goals.
but I mean, we gotta be honest that it's a long,